Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the Noise Report. I am one of your hosts, the beautiful and illustrious Trey Graciani.
Don't let him lie to you. I am the only host, Justin Horn.
This is the only podcast where you get two non-professionals talking about things they have a basic understanding of.
We're really professionals. Don't
Word.
lie to you.
Sub-professionals.
By professionals, I of course mean we are novices. Same thing, really. So today we've got two wonderful albums for you. We've got Crywolf's album Cataclasm. I believe it's a debut. I mean, he had a bunch of EPs
he had a bunch of
beforehand.
EPs and stuff before that, but he was well known in like the electronic scene, but he didn't really have like a full. I think there's like one maybe full album for that. I'm not entirely sure. And then we also have Leprous's Cole coming at you live. And always remember that at the end of the podcast, we will recommend two more albums to each other. If you wish to listen in and get a good taste of that sweet, tasty music, then check those out and we'll talk about them next week. But this week, we're talking about, let's start with Leprous.
Yeah, sure. So this is the album I recommended. Leprous are some boys from Sweden. And they used to be the backing band for Ishan, which is a black metal legend and also avant-garde metal legend more recently, with such albums as After and Arctis. Some really interesting and kind of out there metal. And Leprous kind of split off and started doing their own thing. Really, the main point of this band, however, is their lead singer, my boy Einar Solberg.
My fucking God! I have a lot to say about this guy.
So let's start out with track one, which is titled "Foe." I'd like to point out here that one of the notes that I have on this track, in fact, the very first note is Einar Solberg's vocals are godly.
I love this man. If I could fuck a voice,
Honestly,
it would be this man's
honestly,
voice.
dude, his vocals are honestly this entire album is basically, it boils down to this man being a god. His chops are just so perfect.
He's got fucking just angelic vocal cords, and I like what I have written down is like this beginning song like perfectly shows off his vocal range and like the diversity that he can, just the shit he can make his voice do. And it's like I think I was nutting halfway through that song, honestly.
Yeah, his vocals are honestly just so impressive. And honestly, the instrumentation is mostly just used as a backdrop.
It's honestly like, I think a lot of notes I have throughout this entire album is how good the instrumentation is for keeping his vocals like the main focus. It's really well done. And going back to just Foe though, that part towards where it changes in tone in the middle with the like fucking angelic whole interlude with like the fucking it's like a cappella with the vocal stabs going around like fucking flying between your ears, and you're like you just want to cry a little bit because it just sounds so good. I fucking love that.
Oh yeah, and then it matches almost perfectly with the vocal melody that is happening there. See, I was struggling to spit that out because after it matches with the vocal melody, the vocals just take over entirely. The guitar fades out, and it turns into a vocal medley. That is,
there you go.
Those are two different words there. Thank you, brain. And speaking of that vocal medley, it basically takes up the last about a minute of the song.
Yep.
And it's, I don't really know what else to describe it as. It's almost like it's like going up to heaven and having God whisper sweet nothings in your ear.
It's just beautiful.
It's so well put together and choreographed with their backing vocalists, and I'd say it's almost a must listen if you're just a fan of music.
Yeah, no, even if you don't really fucking care about progressive rock or fucking metal type of music, just listen to Foe. It fucking, it's a beautiful song to start an album off with.
It makes me want to knut just thinking about it right now.
Makes me want to gnut.
So track 2 is called Chronic. This is the first use of guttural or harsh vocals on the album, as the first track was all focused on his gorgeous vocals, whereas this track has a smattering of his guttural ability as well. And it's also the first track to feature piano, which there are other tracks in the track listing that go on to do so. I'd say this is one of my favorite vocal melody tracks on the album. With the exception of the chorus, it's one of the few gripes that I actually have with the album is that the chorus is a little weak,
a little boring.
Yeah, it's like stars they whereas the rest of the choruses do a very, very good job of keeping you interested in them, whereas this one just sounds kind of repetitive, and I think they could have done a significantly better job of that given their performance on some of these later tracks.
Typically I really hate repetitious lyrics in songs, but for some reason with this one, like the more and more it went on, the more it was like starting to click with me.
Yeah,
like,
I would
especially
agree with
towards the end of the song, when it was like just getting really serious and like you could feel like more of the music swelling up, and all of a sudden I'm just like, yeah, the scars.
Yeah.
Oh,
it like, especially when it goes like kind of ritorando. See, that's my music knowledge coming.
Oh my God, we are professionals.
Yeah, so like when it really slows down there at the end.
Yeah, and he's like, the scars.
Yeah, and just really, really sticks it.
Yeah.
Like, up until that point, the chorus is kind of bland, but when it starts slowing it down and making you feel the impact and the weight of every single word, it's at its most effective.
One final thing on this is something I have with a lot of songs, or not a lot of songs, a couple songs on the album, and that's just it's a personal thing to me, but I feel a lot of these songs go on for a really long time. These are like 9-minute long songs, and I really don't like songs that go past at like 6 minutes. So a couple of these songs I'm like, it went on a bit too long without keeping me too well interested, but this song might have gone on a bit too long, but they finished off strong, so that's okay by me.
Yeah.
I got through the boring chorus to get to the good part of the chorus, which was just the chorus, but better.
Yeah. One other thing to note about the song is that there's a point where the guitars kind of change what they were doing, because mostly, again, they're just backdrops to Einhard's vocals, and it's kind of like a boom, ba-dum, boom, do kind of sound there.
Yeah, there's like a little, like almost like a stop in there. That, like, changes it up.
And during that time, there's this excellent vocal progression, super dramatic, where he's like, try to be selfish, try not to stay, some shit like that. Ignore my trash vocals.
I'm taking that out.
Yeah, just ignore that. But anyway, so that part is one of my favorite of the entire album. It's just like so triumphant to sing along to. It just feels good. I mean, even when it's shit, it feels good. That's a little dig at myself there, but yeah. So it's I'd say that's probably the strongest part of the track for me. I think we're ready to go on to track 3. Yeah.
Track 3, Coal.
It's the title track.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I was a little disappointed in this song. I'll tell you why. The vocals for me, the melody, not the vocals itself, but the vocal melody for most of the song was super boring until it got to, well, in the first verse, he holds the word side and like just fucking rocks that shit. It made me cream a little bit. But before that, it was a little boring, and then it goes back to being boring, and then it hits the bridge and it just fucking pops off, and I felt like the whole song should have been like the bridge, but it wasn't, and that made me a little sad. But everything else besides that, the instrumentals were utterly nutty.
Yeah, this really showcases
it shows the instruments or the instrumentalists more than I think
yeah,
the vocalist.
for the first part anyway.
Yeah,
until the bridge.
Yeah, once it gets to the bridge, it's an entirely different song, and it made me super happy. But the whole intro, I was really disappointed with because I thought it was just such a generic sounding melody that didn't really fit with the instruments until they started, like, everyone just started fucking going ham, and then I was like, yeah.
The vocals are very off kilter. That's partially due to how different the time signatures are. They're constantly swapping. I don't know if you like really listen to some of the bass tracks on the song, but like you can hear him like doing eighth notes for the time signature, but they're just all over the place. It's like every other bar it's changing time signatures. And this is really kind of one of those things that, as you said, highlights the instrumentation. It doesn't sound like they're doing much until you really pay attention to what's going on, and then it's like, wow, they're making a really complicated thing sound like it's actually just super simple and boring.
I mean, I was so disinterested with the vocals in the beginning that all I was trying to listen to was the instruments, and I was like, oh, you guys are really doing well back there. I know you're not really getting the highlight right now, but fuck, dude. Keep going hard.
They really kick a lot of ass and work together well as a unit. And again with the bridge, he's just fucking, oh my god.
We're back to fucking the toe drummer. Like, this whole thing is just fucking him.
Yeah, like, it really is just him carrying it. There are obviously some points where the instruments shine, but their whole purpose throughout the album is really just supporting this god, this vocal god.
I do also like the inclusion of electronic synths in the song too.
Yes,
especially the like deep droning ones towards the end. They really again, the instruments just really push everything forward. It's super nice.
I believe we're on to track 4 now.
Track 4.
Spoiler alert, this is my favorite track on
Oh my god, me too.
Hell yeah, brother.
The Cloak is the name of this song.
So, first of all, before we even get into anything else, I'm just going to touch a bit on the lyrics here.
Please do. Enlighten us.
The lyrics here, it's just the chorus itself is just like this wonderful little thing. It's like, oh yeah, so you're going to be regretful about yesterday, okay? So you're going to cry tomorrow. Which is, it sounds really generic and really boring and cliched, but the delivery, how it relates to the rest of the song, it's just so flawless. It's so flawless. I love it. I love it. The song makes me want to cry. Tears of happy, but it's actually kind of a sad song.
Makes me want to cry tears of happy, but I'm also sad.
Yes.
I love the synths in this song.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
They fucking just hard carry the entire intro. And like when harmony starts getting added in with all this shit, and then they hit the chorus with the vocals, and I started sweating.
Yeah. Suddenly it's like,
it's almost this song, or not even just this song, but this whole album is like just euphoric.
Yeah.
Like, especially this song, especially because it really shows off whatever I forget his name.
Einar. It's kind of a weird pronunciation. That's an Einar.
Yeah, it really shows off what he can do with his voice.
Oh, absolutely. His falsetto is out of this world.
He puts most like operatic tenors to shame.
Yeah,
like, that dude's got a fucking power falsetto.
And it's an instantly recognizable voice too, like, because he's got some vocal inflections that he does that I've never really heard anyone else do aside from that one folk punk band that I was showing you. Yeah. But he just does it so much better.
I think there's a really good example of it in a later song on this album that I'll talk about when we get there that just really shows off his like unique way he sings, but we'll get there when we get there.
I really hope that song is not the last one.
It is not.
Okay, that's good.
That is not, because that is a different singer.
There is another singer on that track.
No, I have a lot to say about that one too. But for finishing up the cloak, not to put the instrumentalist down again. These guys do amazing, but they're really just there to support this dude's voice.
Yeah, it's very skeletal. This entire track instrumentally is almost bare. There's almost nothing. It's just the very, very bare bones. It's enough to convey a pulse, a melody, and then it's just like they pass it off to Einhar and let him do his job. It's honestly incredible. They almost use the guitar as like the lead guitars. They almost use it as another rhythmic instrument, like the bass and the drums. It's almost just another rhythm piece, which is, and I would say, an interesting use. It's not super common to see that done. Typically, there's a rhythm guitarist to do that, but they're the leads and the rhythm guitarists are doing
They're
this.
separate entities most of the time. So I say, if you're ever gonna listen to any of like this album, for sure the Cloak.
Yeah,
listen to this fucking song.
This is another song
I will
that,
make you listen to this song.
This is like, if you're a fan of music of any kind, I don't care if it's like hardcore hip hop, you're gonna be in tears.
If you're out there balling to fucking XXX to Not Temptation's fucking death, and you're gonna be fucking balling to this song too, just because it's good.
Yeah.
I might take that out.
It's a little in bad taste, but
I'm gonna cut that.
You're not gonna censor me.
Anyway, moving on. Track number 5, The Valley. So the first line I have written down in my notes here is the opening synth gives off an 80s or like an 80s feeling neo-punk driving through a cityscape kind of feeling.
That's like so specific.
Dude, honestly, the first time I heard this song, that synth started hitting and I was imagining myself like in a fucking like neo fucking future rundown dystopian city, like fucking Akira style, driving through like lights flashing, it's all dark and rainy, fucking what's that movie called?
Blade Runner?
Yeah, Blade Runner fucking style. And I was like, oh, fuck yeah. Like, this is what I want to hear when I'm doing that shit. But aside from that, I think the guitar and bass really fucking sell this song.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That, as well as the chorus, I think the chorus on this track is super strong. What?
That's exactly what I have written down. Chorus is by far the best part of this song.
Oh yeah, the chorus absolutely rocks this shit. My God. And they repeat it a lot, but it's so damn good that you don't really care.
Oh my God.
Other than that, like, I mean, there isn't really a whole lot you can say about this album. This song. Well, I suppose this counts for the album as well, in that a lot of it is just super ambient instrumentals that are just there to like catch your attention a little bit and then direct it towards what they want you to hear.
Yeah. Which
is typically Einar's vocals, but sometimes they do highlight things in the instrumentation. I want to say it's in the tail end of this track that they highlight a drum fill a little bit.
There's a really epic drum fill.
Yeah.
Epic.
It's really cool.
Some of the other notes I have written down, the guitar bass and the chorus really punch. They really fucking sell that shit. And just another gripe with me is that this is another one of those like 9-minute long songs. And like, I really... If I listen to a 9-minute long song and I come out of it thinking that was a good song, and I'm not really thinking about the fact that it's a 9-minute long song, then I think to me it's a pretty good song. And I came out of this one just like I came out of Chronic, thinking like it was worth the whole thing. But once again, I feel like if you keep pushing a song to 9 minutes and you're not keeping me entertained the whole time, then you failed. But so far it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, that's...
they do a really good job of like just doing the subtle little things in this track that just keep you like,
yeah, it's very much an edge of your seat kind of like, okay, well, I'm slightly less on the edge of my seat now. Oh, wait a minute, something else is happening here. and it's important, and they're making it seem important. And I mean, at 8 tracks, this album's almost an hour long. So I mean,
yeah,
the runtime's got to come from somewhere.
Yeah, when I first opened it up, I was like, oh man, an hour long. This isn't too bad. And I saw there were only like 8 songs. I was like, oh no. And then there are 2 bonus tracks, but we will not be reviewing those.
Yes.
One's a remix, and the other one is an original, I think.
Yes. The original one is called Barry. Up until today, I didn't even know it existed.
And you call yourself a fan.
I mean, I just have the regular version of this album, so I was like, oh yeah, I'll listen to the regular version. And then you're like, oh yeah, there's bonus tracks. And I'm like, I've been missing out this whole time.
Just never looked it up.
Yeah, I'm quite sad about that. But the song was kick-ass. That will not be a part of the review.
Yeah. Just let you know, it was kick-ass. Moving on. Track number 6.
Salt.
This is the song. This is my second favorite song on the album.
I would agree. This is a lot of the songs that we're agreeing on here are like super laid back in the instrumentation, like
and
almost
just all the vocals.
Yeah, it's so ambient, and his vocals are so passionate and just so almost tender at points.
So this is the song I was talking about earlier when I said there was a part in it where it really shows off his unique vocal style, and it's during the end, or not just the end of the second verse, there's beginning of the second verse, I think, where he fucking does this weird like and like thing fucking with like a harmony, and like it just sounds so fucking incredible. And then it gets to the end of the second verse, and I literally wrote down, what is this guy's fucking range, with 4 question marks and 4 exclamation points, because this man just keeps breaking the boundaries of what you should be able to hit. It's incredible. All my notes are just how fucking good this guy is at singing.
Honestly, yeah. Like when I first stumbled onto this band, I was like, oh wow, this instrumental is pretty cool. And then the vocals came in, I'm like, hold on. Did you just am
I dying?
Will I ever be the same after this? The answer was no.
The answer is no. We are changed people.
We are spiritually changed by this man's ability to manipulate sound using his throat.
Yes. This is also another song that showcases a piano in it.
Yes.
And it really, really kind of carries the vocals, I think. They match really well. Want to give some credit to the instrumentalists here. We don't give them as much credit as I think they deserve.
I've got some bad news for you.
Oh shit!
The pianist is also Einar.
Fuck! Well, turns out this man is literally my favorite musician now.
Yeah, he's pretty incredible.
So I take back everything I said. Fuck the guitarist. Fuck the bassist. Fuck the drummer. This is all Einar's show now.
This is the Einar show. Welcome.
If him and the dude from Toe, the drummer from Toe, get together, we might have the greatest fucking duo of all time.
The greatest piano rock group of all time.
Besides from that, incredible song.
Yes. I don't think I can heap any more praise onto the vocals, but I'm going to on the next track, which is Echo. This is one of my favorite sing-along songs on the album. Maybe it's because with vocals like these, you can't help but sing along. It's almost like a curse, because you know that your vocals will never be that good.
Honestly.
But Echo is like super, super... It's also one of the peppiest, I would say, for instrumental wise. Like
the intro bass is super good.
Yeah, like the instrumental is really a lot more present here, and not just left to a backdrop, at least for the intro to the track.
Yeah, the first thing I thought of when this song came on, I was like, oh, the bass. I can
hear
him.
So
also coming into like the second verse, the fucking guitar riff that comes in, that's super fucking jazzy. It's like, nice. Thanks for doing something, guys. Glad to know you're there too.
You really popped off. And yeah, so it's it's very much less spacey and ambient than the other tracks, which I would say is much to its benefit. It's pretty refreshing in the track list, given that you're just coming off of The Valley and Salt, which are both super spacey and super ambient, especially Salt. Salt is like the instrumentation is hanging in the background, ready to like
it's fucking
kind of drop.
It's off the cliff kind of there already.
Yeah. it's gone. The vocals are the instruments.
I can't say this is my favorite song. I think out of the album, it's not the weakest, but it definitely didn't draw me as much as the other ones. That being said, it was probably just because it's another 9-minute long song.
Yeah.
And it really just wasn't able to hook me as much as the other songs were. Not to say it was a bad song. I still think it's an incredibly well-made song with really good instrumentals, like that really pop for the first time since the beginning of the album. But it just was not able to keep me as drawn in as the other ones were. Though, that being said, when I was listening to it, I decided to keep it playing while I went and did something else, and it was fucking like as soon as I stopped trying to focus so much on the song and just kind of let it play, I really enjoyed it a lot more for some reason. And I think it was just a really good song for me to just have playing in the background while I do other stuff.
Yeah,
not like fucking stuff that really draws my fucking attention away. I was still listening to it, but it wasn't something where I'd be like, fuck, oh yes, I must thoroughly in depth and look into this song's every inner being. It was just like a fuck yeah, I can jam to this while I go fucking do my laundry.
Yeah, and that's actually another thing that can really be noted about this whole album is that it's an excellent passive listening experience. These tracks that are like 9, 8, 7.5 or whatever minutes long, they just fly by when you're not paying very detailed attention to them. So like, for example, last week I was listening to this album for the first full run through in about a month or two just for the podcast, and I was playing RuneScape at the time, and the album was just suddenly over, and I was like, what happened?
I gotta listen to it again.
Notes down. Now I'll have to listen to it again. Shame about that. And pretty much the same thing happened. So until this week, when I actually sat down and listened to it super thoroughly, my notes were even spottier than they already are.
I see almost nothing on your page, Justin.
I'm going off of memory for a lot of this stuff because I love this album so much. Give me a break, Daddy.
It's okay. Anything else you have to say about Echo?
Not too much, except this is probably in my top 3 on the album.
I can dig that.
Track 8 and the closer is Contaminate Me, which, first of all, is a pretty sick song name, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly.
Speaking of sick things that aren't related to the music, I really love this album cover.
Oh yeah, it's a really cool looking album cover.
Yeah, it's like a really good juxtaposition. I hate to bring that up at the end of the album, but like it just struck me now, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot to talk about that.
I don't think we've ever talked about album covers.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have. Let's keep doing that from now on.
That's a good idea.
All right. Anyway, Contaminate Me, the final song for Cole, is my least favorite song.
Is it because of the vocals at the end?
It's actually, I don't mind, like, I don't listen to screamo or heavy metal all that often, but I don't mind screamo vocals. Like, I don't mind. I'm sorry, heavy metal screaming vocals.
The technical term is guttural.
Guttural. Okay. I don't really listen to guttural vocals all that often, but they don't bother me. I don't mind them. But after having 7 songs of the best singing I've ever heard, only to be completely tossed aside for like 2 lines, really made me sad.
I should note that remember at the very start when I mentioned that these guys were the backing band for Ihsan?
Yeah.
The vocalist on this track.
It's Ihsan.
It's Ihsan.
Yeah. I was looking at that when I was reading through the lyrics. I saw that it was another guy, and I'm like, please be really good. And he started just. I mean, he is a really talented. Like, yeah, this dude's voice is wild.
And actually, if you ever listen to one of his solo albums, which I'll probably get to recommending later, but his clean vocals are actually quite good, and they aren't anywhere near as good as Einhar's, but they're better than a lot of vocalists.
Yeah.
Like a lot of vocalists.
I mean, let me just clarify that when I say it's my least favorite song on the album, it's still like a really, really good song.
Yeah. And they actually play up the instrumental a little bit on this song too.
Especially towards the end.
Yeah, and like the build up around Ihsan's more guttural vocals as he's just popping off on these like really theatric, dark, black metal-esque vocals. He's just popping off, and the instrumental is just building all kinds of tension underneath, and it's very satisfying. It's a very satisfying conclusion to the album, I would say.
Mm-hmm. The once again, this one's super, super, super long, but it never stops like bringing up that fucking hype like the whole time. It even hits a breakdown part where it's just like a fucking like a synth and a cello and like a shisaku or whatever the fuck that flute thing is called, and like you're just like, oh, what the fuck is gonna happen next? And then it hits so hard, and the ending vocals I think are the highlight of the song with this Ihsan. And especially where he's saying the contaminate me, like now we run. I was like, I think I have the build up to the end was actually wild and kind of scared me.
yeah it's absolutely just sociopathic. It
even if you don't really like heavy vocals like that, this dude, you gotta admit, the dude is really talented. He's got the voice on him, and the instrumentals once again do the best job of just carrying these guys.
So in conclusion, I give this album a solid 9.5 out of 10. This is not quite my favorite Leprous album, but I didn't want.
They get better.
I just didn't want to recommend something that would just like knock your socks off.
Yeah, we'll save that for a future episode where we both recommend just like our fucking favorite albums.
Yeah, I didn't want to just straight up recommend my favorite. So instead, I just recommended an album that I fanboy over a lot.
All right.
To coincide with your album, which we'll get to in about 5 minutes. In conclusion, anyway, this album is god tier. It's really, really, really good. It's almost a spiritual experience listening to this man's vocals. I just hope he does like a solo album someday that it's just like him and a piano.
He could literally just do an acapella, and I'd fucking listen to the fuck out of that.
I'd nut, dude. I'd nut.
Mm-hmm. For me, overall, I gave this a 9 out of 10. Very close to your 9.5. My points are, there's some insane vocal work. Like, I don't think I need to say it for the 20th time, but I'm going to. This guy literally is this album. The synth and accompaniment that go with it really fucking are executed perfectly, and they really help carry this guy's voice. And I think it's all around just super interesting, and it's constantly changing its feeling while still kind of remaining the same in terms of like music style, which I thought was super interesting, because a lot of the songs, though they didn't necessarily sound the same, they kind of felt the same, and they really gave off this like deep, like emotional feeling that I didn't think I was gonna get, and I got it. My only issue is the length of the songs. Even if it's a really, really good 9-minute song, just a little bit shorter, please. I don't have the time to listen to these.
What if I just recommended Rush's 2112? Would you die?
Oh, maybe. I'd probably just say I listened to it when I'd actually just read like a fucking TLDR on it. Anyway, incredible album. And we are moving on now to Crywolf's Cataclasm, the first ever electronic album we're reviewing on the podcast.
Definitely not the last, though.
Oh, I've got more.
I know you have more.
You
crazy boy.
This is Crywolf's. It could be debut. I didn't really look into it that much. I've listened to his music before this album came out. Real name Justin Phillips.
Yeah, don't get it confused with me, a much less talented person.
Justin Horn. So I just want to go into a little bit on the creation of this album, because it's actually a kind of interesting story. And I'll give you a little insight into Crywolf as an artist, just to help you just to let you understand how this kind of all goes down. So Cataclasm itself means a violent disruption, and apparently in the creation of this album, Crywolf was previously a very well-known indie electronic music artist, did some shows, and was really angry with how the electronic music industry was turning. This is like at the peak of like just shitty fucking Martin Garrix Animals, like fucking just trash tier electronic music, and he was super fed up with it. So to help him escape, he went to Bildudalar, Iceland, and locked himself in a way of a village of like 50 people, and just for like a month and a half wrote music, and then came back to America and finished it. And I'm gonna say this now. This dude is fucking edgy. He's so edgy.
Yeah, he's almost as edgy as your sister, to be honest.
Just real close.
Well, I should say your sister like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
She's
changing now.
She's gotten better.
So yeah, the biggest thing about Crywolf is that he's super edgy. And if you read the descriptions on some of the songs, they're like 4 paragraphs long about a dream he had. And it's like, dude, I don't fucking care. Your music's good, so just move on. And with that, let's get right into it with Act 1, The Queen of Fiji.
All right. I'm a level with you.
Yeah.
I really love this opening track. It's unironically one of my favorites on the album.
It's super fucking good.
Yeah, like there's like this sampling of birds and like walking on a shoreline. It sounds like maybe just like a cobblestone path or something like that.
It gives off a sense of being outdoors, definitely.
Yeah.
And
then there's like a nice little acoustic guitar and like bass and glockenspiel and obviously various electronic instruments, as this is mainly an electronic album.
I would call this album like an indie alternative electronic stuff, where it's a mixture between a lot of live stuff and a lot of electronic stuff. Mainly Justin's voice for most parts until it hits like drops, but we'll go into that. This song, however, does not feature a drop. It is just a really pretty song.
Yes.
And it really kind of shows off how the album will make you feel in a way. It's super melancholy, and I really, really dig it.
Of course you do.
Oh, my queen, we are here again. I honestly, I'm going to be real with you. I don't understand half the lyric, what the fuck they mean, but they sound cool.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I know there's supposed to be like, there is meaning behind them all. I just would not be able to tell you what.
Yeah, it's a little bit too intricate in the production.
It's the edgy. It's the edginess.
So track 2 is called Wake, and bracket E-bow bracket.
I just call it Wake. So one thing, I don't know if you noticed it with this song, but you'll definitely notice it throughout all the songs. But this entire album is one seamless song.
Yes, I did notice that.
It is
the end of Queen of Fiji fades out with like some bells and like some static.
And like it like starts to
it gets dissonant and that's when you know you're in Wake.
Yeah.
So there's also a very prominent use of percussion, which is very different from the first track, which is no percussion at all.
Yeah. No, he does a lot of sampling with percussion in the entire album, especially with really heavy like claps, snaps, and like hi-hats.
Yeah.
And drumstick usage.
Yeah, speaking of the drumstick usage, that's a lot of the percussion on this track, or at least I'm inferring that it is, as when I was reading about the album, he apparently sampled using his drumsticks on the ceiling of his building a lot.
So for anyone who, just to put his own, just to give him a little bit of a plug, when he was releasing this album, he actually made a 4-part mini documentary about his making of it in Iceland. And it's actually kind of interesting to watch. He's super edgy during the whole thing again, obviously. But it's just kind of interesting to see how he worked in Iceland by himself for like a month And there is a part where you see him drumstick in the ceiling. He's just going off, and I'm like, fucking go hard, dude. The ceiling is your drum set now. And yeah, I really like how he samples percussion in this.
Yeah. I again with a lot of the reading that I did, he sampled everything from tapping on the ceiling to pots and pans to using crushed water bottles. It's really kind of a wild use of production, and I really like that grimy kind of lo-fi aesthetic, but still such high fidelity production quality.
One thing we haven't really spoken of is his singing. He's not. I would not say he's as good as Past Man, Einhar, but I do think he has a really good sounding voice, especially when he starts hitting up with his own harmonies.
Yeah,
and
I think a lot of his own harmonies are very stellar.
He's got a very good high voice too. His high range is super good, except if you ever listen to him sing live, he does this really weird thing where he goes like and like fucking shakes his voice wildly, and it's kind of weird, but then he somehow doesn't do it when he releases a full song. I don't know. He's a weird guy, but
he's an edgy boy.
Aside from that, the whole chorus, this is when it starts to really get electronic.
Yes.
And it really shows off his past experience as an electronic producer. A lot of these songs kind of have almost the same kind of feeling in the drop. It's like the same kind of like build up, like it's got huge droning sounds, and they don't all sound the same, but they all kind of feel the same. But he usually mixes it up with vocals and percussion and stuff. So Wakey Bo is a really not my favorite song, but it's a good follow up to Queen of Fiji.
And one of the actual points on the album that I really enjoyed, my throat's getting all clogged up, is that around 2 minutes and 50 seconds, the song just like cuts almost and then just goes right back in, and it was a great use of silence, which is something a lot of producers really fail to use to its fullest. Silence can be an incredibly powerful tool, and this point in the song really made well use of it. Track 3 then is Rising. And before we actually start about the music, this actually reminds me, on the topic of the album cover for this. See,
he's an edgy boy.
He's an edgy boy, but there's something you may not know.
Yes.
In that every single track on this album has its own album cover.
Yeah.
So when I listened to the Conglomerate album, which is all the tracks just put together, I obviously just saw the one.
You saw the main track, the main album cover, which is him like kind of scribbled out on the bottom. Not really the most interesting album cover. And it works when you're edgy, but
yeah, and then you get into all of the other variant album covers, which, you know, it's fine if you want to have variant album covers. That's kind of neat. But this album has 12 tracks on it. Not all of these tracks are very substantial, but they all have their own custom-made edgy boy little album cover, which was more irritating. Like at first it was like, oh wow, this is kind of cool, this must be a single. But then it went to the next track and I'm like, wait, this song's a minute long and doesn't feature anything that would ever be conventionally released as a single. What's going on here? So yeah, that's just a little thing that I had to get out of the way there before I forgot. So Rising opens with acoustic guitar and bells again. And there's actually a thing that I noticed where he layers little guitar segments on top of each other in post, which is a very, very cool touch.
He does it with the bells too.
Yeah, like you're listening to the main guitar melody, and then suddenly there'll just be a little pop in like of the same guitar, but like in just a little different melody, kind of playing off to the side. Just
He does a really good use of space, I
Yes.
think, in your ears. Because there's a lot of times where you'll have two things playing at the same time, but they're coming out of different ears, or they're playing out of the same like location, but one seems a little bit farther back, and you can kind of feel where they are almost. If you have like surround sound, I'm sure it'd sound super cool.
Yeah,
But
that's actually something that that can really be said about this. In that this entire album, and this track is really when it starts to feel this way. It just feels huge.
yep,
It feels so
Yeah.
vast, and like it's almost like you're standing on top of a mountain and you're just looking out at all of the valleys. Like,
like
oh,
what I think
that's a lot of land.
well, when a lot of his like quote unquote drops hit, the choruses as they should be called, a lot of them when they hit, especially in this album, it I get that same feeling of like you're on top of a mountain, you see a lot of land, but when the choruses come in, it's like that exact same feeling, but instead of looking out at a bunch of land, it feels like something huge is rising in front of me, which I
Yeah.
think, especially in Rising, I feel that like insane, like a huge, gigantic colossus figure is like rising up out of the ground, and like all the swelling violins and synths and drones are just pushing him up, and that's what I get out of a lot of the songs here. Rising is one of my favorites, if not my favorite, just because of how good the vocals um, sound with the backing. And there's
Yeah.
also you also get a
A female vocalist
yeah,
backing.
she's
and,
Echoes. He doesn't give credit.
I think
He gives credit
does
on a later song.
Yeah.
But in Rising, she just adds a little bit of harmony to it, which sounds super beautiful.
Yes, it's really well done.
And halfway through the song, you get to the I guess you could call it a breakdown bridge, kind of. It really tones itself down, and it's just like an instrumental with and like it's just ooze the whole time.
Yeah,
And
and,
then-
there's
and then-
also like one thing that I specifically noted
Yep.
is that it adds cowbell, which is something that more songs need. More cowbell. And I'm not saying that for the meme. We need more cowbell.
The thing I have about the ooh part is one, the vocals that come in during that part are like some of my favorite on the entire album. The all the times you calling your wings, blah blah blah. Like I fucking love that. And something he does really well is the instrumentation that goes with the ooze is constantly changing. It's never like guitar and like a little bit of drums and like maybe a bell, and then all of a sudden like he sings, and then it comes back and it's like an entirely different melody that's playing with a different instrument. You're like, oh fuck yeah, and then it goes back to like the oohing again, and then like the oohs are building up, and you're like, is this guy ever gonna stop? I do think that the oohs went on a little bit too long. I feel like they could have stopped a while ago, but the shit he did during that with the instrumentation kind of kept me interested, so I wasn't too mad. I just felt like you could shorten that down, buddy, or at least add more lyrics in instead of just ooze, because ooze aren't lyrics. I'm sorry to tell you, pop singers.
Yeah, that's right, millennials. Get
You
shit on.
fucking millennials.
Your millennial ooze aren't cutting it anymore.
Moving on though, from Rising to Anachronism.
First of all, as much as I like this title, like Anachronism just seems like a litty title, but it also really seems like an edgy boy title. It's such an edgy sounding word. I don't even know what it means, but like
I don't know either. I didn't look it up.
it,
Fuck it. While you talk, I'm gonna look it up.
all right. So I find the instrumental on this track to be pretty compelling, especially like when the drop happens for the first time at around 1:45. It's like you're getting punched in the face with just a wall of sound. Like it is just you're walking into a brick wall, and that brick wall is made out of all of these electronic instrumentations that he's using. And this
is I just to add to that, this is like the real first time where you hear like the pure drone like rising synth that makes me like really think of that Colossus figure. Rising like and Wake Ebo still have that feeling, but this is the one where it like hits you so hard that you can fucking almost feel it like shaking. If you had fucking speakers playing, like massive speakers, and they're shaking the ground, I'd be fearful that something is coming out of it. Also, anachronism, a thing belonging or appropriate to a period other than that in which it exists, especially a thing that is conspicuously old-fashioned.
That is the edgiest boy thing I've ever heard in my life. That is such an edgy boy thing.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
fits in perfectly.
It's at this point in the album that I started to realize that this man has an over reliance on his falsetto.
He does,
which I think is really, really a shame, because a lot of his non-falsetto vocals are really good. They're very compelling. I like them a lot. Like on the Leprous album, there's a large use of falsetto, like a very large use of falsetto, but it's balanced out by his ability to hit extreme lows and really good mids.
There's a lot of variation.
Yeah, there's a lot of variant use of vocals, where on this album it's a very, very over reliance on falsetto.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's not like his falsetto sounds bad. It sounds
it's
beautiful.
a very, very good falsetto. I think he just uses it too much, and he has so many other vocal talents at his disposal, as you can hear at other tracks in the album. Like, I mean, even on the Queen of Fiji, like, his vocals are much more toned back, and it sounds phenomenal.
It starts out in a lower register. I agree with that completely. I do, however, in Anachronism, the entire intro, I fucking nut to that shit. The in-out shit, like when he's saying I'll breathe you in and out, and then in the background you can hear it kind of fading between your ears. There's him going in, out, and it like fucking makes my heart not like skip a beat like I'm in love, but it makes my heart like freak out a little bit, because it's like trying to force me to like follow with him, and I'm like, stop doing that, dude. You're messing with my mind.
I do agree that again, that's a very interesting production thing that he does. I cannot highlight how well his production is done. He really showcases his skill and talents as a producer.
He's got that tight EDM skills.
Sure. I wouldn't say this is dance music, though.
It's not. It's just electronic.
Yeah, this is just more of almost like electronic ambient at some points. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of the songs just have different genres labeled to them. Like some of them are like fucking electronic pop, ambient, fucking R&B, and it's like, Joe, I can kind of see it. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I can fucks with that.
And then, fuck, dude, I just want to keep talking about his fucking really good use of production, but we should move on to Act 2, A Shattering in F sharp minor.
So first of all, this is an excellent name. I absolutely love the name of this song. There's something very encapsulating about it. Like, it just feels, yes, this is a thinking man's title. And on that, this is actually my favorite track on the album.
Really?
Yes.
It's not even an original.
It's not?
No, I will let you know what this is. If you listen to it, you're going to listen and be like, what the fuck is going on? This is beautiful. It is an Icelandic hymn called Her Himnasmor. I said that so wrong. And it is a hymn that was written way back in the 1200s when the Vikings were being converted to Christianity. And it's all about fucking like changing to follow God or whatever. And he transcribed it, I believe, into F sharp minor, obviously. And then I think I don't know if it's him or if he like actually got an Icelandic like little choir group to sing it for him, but it is beautiful.
Yes, it's honestly, like, it threw me for a loop when I heard it coming off of Anachronism, because Anachronism has all those heavy drops and stuff, and I'm like, okay, well, this is kind of setting a tone for what I'm going to be expecting for the rest of the album. And then Act 2 just comes in and it's like, oh, by the way, we're just going to do some gospel here.
Yeah, honestly, like, imagine a church song and then imagine it being sung really, really well and also in a different language.
Yeah, and that's what it felt. It felt very compelling, and it made me understand why a lot of hymnals sound that way with such a big choral and stuff, because it was almost inspiring in how it sounded. the issue with that for all you church administration people there, your vocalists are bad. Okay.
Get good, Jesus.
Get good Icelandic choir chorus vocals.
Go to Iceland,
okay?
get a choir. They're gonna pop off for you. It's all right. So yeah, I really love this song too. It's completely different than anything else on the album, and it just fucking hits you hard. I wish I could call this an original, but it's just a transcription. And
I mean, he does have some interesting production in the back. Like,
oh yeah, no, he's got stuff going on.
Yeah, so
But
I mean,
it's not his original writing.
It's not his original song
Yeah.
specifically, but he did transcribe it. He did do some production things. He did record it. So
It's his now, bitch.
props to him for doing such a crazy thing.
Moving on from the coolest sounding song ever to Slow Burn. Still a really good sounding song.
Yeah,
I wasn't trying to talk Slow Burn down.
I would agree. I'd say Slow Burn is actually one of my favorite sounding songs on the album. Like, there's something.
It's got so much going on.
Yeah, there's something about it that just really resonated with me, as compared to like Anachronism, where Anachronism is all about the drops and stuff.
Yeah, this one has a lot of relies a lot on using the vocals as the synths, because there's a vocoder vocal going on. It's got a lot of repeating vocals going on that like help keep the beat / melody going throughout the whole thing, especially with that vocoded vocal. And there's a lot of hi-hat.
Yes, there is. It's actually pretty wild.
It is one of those. This is the one when I was talking about when I was looking at the genre tags that was like electronic, hip hop, R&B, ambient, and I was like, what? What? And then you listen to it, you're like, oh yeah, I can
kind of feel that.
Because when you start out a song and it starts out with, you're like, yeah, that's a hi-hat, all right. That's R&B.
I hear that hi-hat that you are introducing into my ear region. So that's really all I have on that track.
Yeah, Slow Burn is a really good song. It's just not the most interesting one. It's got a lot of good production value into it, but it's not really one that you're gonna be fucking shouting fucking high heavens about for the rest of the night.
It's no act 2, but it's pretty good. So track 7 is Slaves, and this is not even low key. This is my least favorite track on the album. And that's all entirely due to the back half of the album. On the back half of the album, there's these really weird like vocal yelps. Yeah, and like the first time I heard it, I'm like, well, it's different. And the second time I listened to the track, I'm like, it's not really clicking for me. And the third time I'm just like, I just don't like those yelps. Please stop. Which is really a shame, because I really liked the rest of the song, and then like the yelps come in and they just crush whatever dreams and hopes I had for this one.
I think that's probably a remnant of his past electronic fucking scene coming through, where you just get kind of a generic standard before the drop, you gotta add something kind of sound, and you just
quick add in a whoop.
Yeah. Some things I do love about this song is in the intro there is a recording of a man, I think it's a native Icelandic man, singing a little song.
Yeah.
And he has it just like kind of faded away, panning out in the background, and it sounds so neat.
Yeah, it's really a very nice little production touch that I also enjoyed quite a bit.
And then his vocals come in over the top of him and like end up like overpowering him. The guy fades away, and it was just like a really nice intro, and I really dug that, because I think they show you the recording of that in his miniseries too. So you get to see that dude just like standing there singing a song, playing a guitar, and he's like, oh yeah, cool, I can use that. And it's like, wow, he actually did use that. I didn't think he'd be able to.
The absolute legend.
And a lot of the times the vocals in even like the chorus and stuff, they don't really feel like lyrics. They just feel like a synth being played. Like it's just him singing the same line over and over, and it just doesn't even feel like he's singing a song. It's more like he's playing an instrument and it's his voice. Also happens to be words in there, but you don't really care about that.
Yeah.
I don't really have much else on Slaves. Like, the Act 2 starts off so strong, but leaves a little bit to be desired within the songs themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to be honest, this is one of my like all-time favorite albums, and I still love the songs. They're just not as good as some of the other ones.
So, track 8 is Act 3. So
Looming.
Yeah, Looming. This is another song that I really enjoyed on this.
This song makes
it's so ambient and so like its use of bells and cello and even the Viking sounding
yeah.
in the it's not that off.
It's not Minecraft Steve's ooh.
Yeah, it is not an sound. It is like it's I don't really know how to like vocalize it without.
You kind of just have to listen to it. Yeah. It's hard to describe anything electronic like that with words. The first thing I want to say is the melody for the bells in the beginning are actually what made me want to entirely change the music I was writing. Because when I first listened to this album, I was still making electronic music, and I heard Act 3 Looming, the bells, the dun 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 dun, dun, and like they're layered on top of each other. They've got like a weird sounding format to their melody, and I heard that, and the first thing I thought of was, I want to do that. I want to make music like this. This sounds fucking cool. I don't want to make electronic music like this. I just want to make music that sounds like these bells. And now every song I write nowadays, I just try to add a bell in it so I can kind of copy it. I love this song.
Gotta get those sick glockenspiel hype, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. This is another song that hits you with like that deep swelling brass synth that kind of is a common subject throughout most of the album. And to me, this song, it's called Looming, but to me it gives off a sense of longing.
Yeah.
Like, it felt super fucking almost sad for not having anything to like really go off of. It just felt like there was something. It was, I don't know. I like to look into music a little bit too much, but it felt like it was looking for something. And instead of looming, I felt like it was more like longing. I don't know. Crywolf, hit me up. I can help you out, dude, with your writing your song names. Because trust me, you could use some help. Call out post.
Except for a shattering F sharp.
Except that one. That one was really good. Anything else to say about Act 3 Looming?
Not too much. It does make use of more female vocals, which it was the second time on the album.
Yep.
Which is a good transition for the next song, which prominently features female vocals.
It is her song.
Yeah, it's your girl Echoes. And the name of the song is Epithelial?
Epithelial, I think. Let's look up what that one means.
Yeah, so the intro starts off with Crywolf and Echoes kind of harmonizing with each other and stuff. And I actually found a lot of the lyrics on this track to be compelling, which is something that I can't say for most of the rest of the album. Like, a lot of the stuff was really resonating with me. What's it mean? Is it the ultimate edgy boy meme?
I don't know. Epithelial, adjective, relating to or denoting the thin tissue forming around the outer layer of a body's surface and lining the alimentary canal and other hollow structures.
Okay, Crywolf, what the fuck? We need to have a chat.
It's a membranous tissue composed of one or more layers of cells, separated by a very little intercellular substance. It sounds so cool.
Crywolf, we need to talk about your song names, dude. You can't just put a cool
You can't just
word.
put a cool sounding word.
You can't do that, dude. That actually brings me back to anachronism. Like, the definition had something to do with like, oh yes, it's something out of place, specifically something old fashioned. No, your song wasn't old fashioned sounding.
No, I think if we would have looked into the lyrics a bit more. Oh, well, do you know what? I take back what I said, Crywolf, about epithelial not making any sense, because the first words of this fucking song are, "Can I cover my skin with your elastic thoughts?" So
Would you look at that?
it does have to do with skin.
That and elastic thoughts would in fact be a membrane of some level.
Fuck it, dude. I'm sorry. I beamed on you.
Yeah, we just got beamed, guys. All right, so
anyway, back to
now
the
before
actual
we
song.
get sued, I'm just gonna dip out. Anyway, so okay, he's gone. He just left. So now that this is my podcast, okay,
I got a lawyer.
he's
We're
back.
fine.
All right, okay, cool. We're lawyered up. You can't touch us now, Crywolf. Can't do it.
Let's see, fucking try. Anyway, your song "Epithelial" is really pretty.
Yeah, it's real good, and it makes me happy. Mostly because this song really does not fixate on his falsetto.
Nope.
Yeah,
that's because Echoes provides that as the female vocalist.
Yes, and she knocks it out of the park. She does a fucking excellent job, as I have written in my notes, verbatim. 2:30, female vocalist fucking kills it. She just knocks it out of the park. Excellent job by Echoes.
Yeah, I love the electronics in the chorus and the vocals, but I wish there would have been some actual some lyrics in there, because once again they just kind of do the just the stereotypical pop thing where they just sing notes instead of singing words. But you can't ask for everything. You don't get everything you want. On to the next song, Akurari. This is my favorite song.
I really enjoyed this song, and I really didn't get it, quote unquote, until on the first listen through he hits the actual name of the track, Akurari.
Yeah.
He just hits that absolutely flawless note, and I was just like, okay, I get it now. I get this track. And from there, every time I went back to it, this was one of the highlights in the track listing.
I fucking love this song.
It's real solid.
Just to give a little insight, Akureyri is a city in Iceland known for its beauty. And throughout most of this song, he's kind of talking about the whole song, or the whole album, I should say, is telling a story of the character Crywolf getting over love, lost, and fucking melancholy, fucking, edgy shit like what I would write. And he uses bigger words than I would. But this song is just super beautiful in coming to terms with all that. And like Justin just said, the fucking note he hits on Akureyri,
it makes the
sells
song.
you.
It really makes the song.
Like whenever I think this is the song I fucking belt in my car when I fucking am listening to it. I try to hit that note so many times. I've gotten pretty consistent, but it's not very good. It just, this song shows off his vocals super well. Like this and like Queen of Fiji and some of the other tracks, just like this is like the peak of what I wish almost every song could have been like.
Yeah,
I just dig it so much.
Yeah, I really fucks with this track as well. It's pretty solid.
The only big issue I have with it is that this is the only drop, quote unquote, chorus that is kind of stereotypically electronic. All the other ones have been like really swelling, like ambient, like fucking build-ups, and this one was kind of just like the generic like and like it's not bad by any means, but because it still has its own unique feeling. Like it may be an electronic drop that's like all heavy and shit, but it feels almost sad. Or
yeah,
like,
and
like
it's unique to the album as well, as all the other ones have just been like a wall of drones.
Yeah, and then once again, vocals just fucking rocked it. He did so good. I'm sorry for saying Epithelial was a bad name. I like your vocals on Akureyri.
Yeah, like Crywolf's gonna listen to us, dude.
If you do, Crywolf, I love you. Your music videos for these songs were actually terrible.
I'm dying.
If you ever get the chance, watch the miniseries, listen to the album, love them, dig them, share them, and then go watch the music videos. And imagine you're 15 years old, you your room is pure black. You wear fucking like dark clothing. You have eyeliner and like shades on. You listen to fucking Panic at the Disco, whatever. And you want to make a music video like out in the forest. You're edgy. There's fog. It's dark. There's a creature in the forest. He's wearing a mask. He's freaky. And there's a beautiful girl in a sundress. She's pretty. Oh, never mind. Her nose is bleeding. Oh my god. Whoa. Now put that to fucking Rising. I think that was one of them. The music videos are not good. I'm sorry to say. They are the edgiest shit I've ever seen. Love the songs. We'll listen to them without watching the video. Moving on, though, from Akurari.
We got The Hunger in Your Haunt, which I must say, another kick-ass song name. I really like things that allude to haunting and ghosts and stuff like that.
Somebody was a 15-year-old who listened to Panic at the Disco.
Actually, no. I've never actually heard a Panic at the Disco song. So.
You've heard a Panic at the Disco song. You might just not have known it was Panic at the Disco.
I mean, yeah, maybe.
There's that one, the Black Parade one. Everyone knows that one.
Yeah, I think that album is super lauded.
When I was a young boy.
Oh yeah, no, I've never listened to that song in full.
Yeah,
I've only
I'd
heard
turn
a
it
couple
off.
tracks on that.
I'd turn it off too. Anyway, I really love once again the bells in this song mixed with like the drumsticks. They've got great fucking synergy going on.
Sick percussion synergies. Also of note, as this song kind of closes out Act 3, I just want to point out that Act 3 fucking kills it.
Yeah.
Act 3 is easily the best part of the album, and that's really laudable, as typically albums start off really strong and then just kind of fizzle out. Especially with electronic albums.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard some like, oh god, what's one that I'm thinking of right now? Whatever. There's a lot of very generic electronic albums that start off with like, oh yeah, this is a pumping
banger.
This is a pumping tune here, and then like you get to the last song and it's like, wowee. It's like I just listened to the same song 12 times.
Yeah. I think for all of Cataclasm, it starts off super strong, kind of dies down a little bit, and then just finishes on a fucking
it really
bang.
plows through.
The things I have written down about Hunger in Your Haunt are most of the song feels live. You can tell a lot of this was recorded and done live until it gets obviously to the chorus or drop. The vocals on the verse are fucking beautiful. I love them so much. And something I've written down is that this song almost gives off the same feeling as I would feel when I cry. I don't know why I felt that, but as I was listening to it, like, because if I ever am going to cry, I never feel like fucking super depressed or like everything's going wrong in the world. It kind of feels almost like refreshing. And this song just gave me a sense of like, you just cried. Like everything's fucking over now. You're fine. It's going to be all right. And like, it just made me feel good in a weird kind of way because the song ends on such a weird note. Tell me what you think about that, Justin. You got a weird smile on your face.
You're a strange man.
I am a strange man. I like to add weird thoughts into when I look at a fucking song. And I'll tell you the truth. I haven't cried in like 2 years, but my God, the last time I did, this is what it felt like. Maybe because I cried to the song. Who knows?
That's a very distinct feeling, I must say.
It's a lot like riding in an 80s dreamscape through a neo dystopian city.
Okay there, Acura. Yeah.
Tell me what you thought.
I don't really have much to say about this song. Like, I really enjoyed it, but like, there wasn't anything that was super distinct to me, except that maybe this was the most vast feeling song to me. This song is when, on the first listen through, I was like, damn, it sounds like I'm on a mountain range. It just feels like wide open, the world is your fucking oyster kind of shit. Like, I'm gonna chew gum and kick ass. This shit is mine. This shit is my world, my vast open landscape, my Skyrim, now releasing on BlackBerry phones.
Todd Howard, how'd you get in here? No, see, I think I like what you just said about that. Like, you get that feeling of a vast, like, this is it, like, this is my fucking thing to take or whatever. Like, that's kind of the same feeling I got, but I put that into a different sense where instead of being like outwardly like fuck yeah, like this is it, like I pushed it inward and it was like, this is it, it'll be like everything's okay for now. Like, I think we had the same feeling, just we pushed it in separate directions.
Yeah, probably.
Which is funky to think about. Let's get into the psychology of that. Justin, are you an IN or INSJ? Or
I'm gonna have to cut you off there, and we're gonna go to epilogue.
Epilogue or ossuary.
So one of the things that I like about this track, is the Viking ooze. Again, I unironically love that. Yeah, it's just so good and unexpected to have them come back is another part. But perhaps more importantly is not the song itself, and I put song in quotation marks because it's only about an ending passage at around that lasts around a minute. The important part is the hidden track at 2 minutes and 50 seconds when it starts. It's a music box.
Okay. Actually, before we get to the music box, can we point out that when Hunger in Your Haunt ends, it's actually not ending?
Yeah.
And epilogue or ossuary is actually the ending to Hunger in Your Haunt, in which it continues off of the ending with it, but then it starts adding a bunch of shit, and it like really, really puts like a bunch of like feeling into like how Hunger in Your Haunt like was starting to feel for me, and it started making like the melody stronger. They added fucking like violin swells that just built up, and it like was really
strong drumming too.
Yeah, it
like,
really felt like it was trying to put an end to everything, and I really liked how he did that with, instead of just ending Hunger in Your Haunt and then playing a music box, he made the song finish in a different song and then added like 2 minutes of silence, which I really don't like, because whenever you're listening to this in your car, you have to like just grab your phone and fucking skip ahead 2 minutes because it's not worth the wait. But then it gets to the music box.
Yeah. And the music box was just it was so refreshing to me. It's so organic and childish almost, and precious. It's just a precious sound.
Yeah, exactly what I have written down is it's a sweet yet somber finale.
Yeah.
It's playing the melody from Looming, which is once again like my favorite fucking song on the album because of that melody, and it's playing that melody but on a music box, like my favorite fucking like instrument thing, and it just really finishes off the album strong for me. Like a lot of the times, the past couple albums we've been reviewing, the endings to the albums have always been like the weakest part. And I feel like we both chose albums that have super strong endings. Like they end on like a really good note. No pun intended. So I really love how all of Cataclasm ends. And I'm going to be real with you guys. I'm a fucking big fucking fanboy to this song, or to this, not just this song, this whole album. I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. I fucking love this thing. The vocals are really, like, when he hits it, he fucking hits it. They can be beautiful. He does a ton with his production work on his vocals. It's never just a main melody singing a vocal melody. There's always a vocal melody with a backing melody, and then like two other vocal things going on behind you that you can kind of hear but like aren't the main focus. It's always going on. It's mastered perfectly. The mastering in this fucking thing is incredible, and and as edgy as it is, a lot of the songs do give off the emotion I think he was trying to give.
Yeah. Even
though if you go and read the descriptions, it's like a 4-paragraph long fucking nonsense that you don't even get. But then you listen to the song and you're like, yeah, I can feel that. I feel that.
Fucks with that.
I can fuck with that. I can fuck Crywolf. I might need to go get that lawyer again.
So, for me, I gave this album a 7.5 to an 8. Not because I didn't enjoy it, but because I feel like this isn't something I'm super accustomed to.
This isn't stereotypical electronic music either.
And I don't listen to much electronic music at all. So this was a very difficult album for me to digest.
It's super unique compared to a lot of other stuff.
I mean, there's like water bottle crunches and like he's harmonizing with himself, and it's not to say that it's bad. In fact, I'd say it's almost near incredible. But for me, this almost does not feel like an album for me.
Yeah.
This feels like it's definitely tailored towards those people that have been listening to electronic music for a long time. They're deeply impassioned in that genre, and they know a lot about it. For me, I know almost nothing about most electronic music. I mean, I know noise, but noise is kind of a fringe genre of electronic music, and not super mainstream in there. So I wouldn't say that this is an album that I would just spin every day. Like, this is not an album that I could just put on in the car and be like, yeah, this is my jam right now. This is an album that I have to be in a certain mood for. And when you're in that mood, it's absolutely beautiful. And it paints just such a vast and gorgeous portrait of what he's trying to paint. It's just not something that I am super familiar with, so I don't really have anything to compare it to.
Yeah, see, I think that's exactly why I rate it so highly, is because I fucking like study fucking electronic music. It's my shit. And when I first listened to this song back in 2015 in my senior year of high school, I can specifically remember, like, the first day I listened to it, I was driving to a musical rehearsal at night, and I could just feel it. It was the thing. Whenever I listen to this album, it's once every couple months, and it's always at nighttime, and I've always got to be driving somewhere that I haven't been in a while. So, like, say I'm just about to go drive to my old I'm driving through my old high school's town, and I'm just like, so maybe I'll happen to pass by it today. I'll take a look, remember my past, and I'm going through and I like remember an old friend's house, and like, this is the song that these are the album that I feel like listening to when I'm doing that kind of stuff, because it just gives off that emotion that I had way back then of like nostalgia, I guess. I've been listening to this album a lot since 2015. It's only been 3 years, but I've probably listened to it like 30 times. And Aquarari's still really good. I love that song.
All right, well, let's go on to our recommendations for next week. The album that I've got for you is actually an album I have not listened to in full yet. I am going to recommend Mr. Bungle's Disco Volante.
What the fuck?
Oh, trust me, it's great. Or at least the one song I've heard from that album is great. And I know their later album, and I know their first album. Their first album is Mr.
Why do I? Is that the music video with the clown shit? Is that Mr. Bungle?
No, but Mr. Bungle, like, their first album does have a clown on it.
Like, you showed me a music video before of like, it's the really weird one where they're in like a weird clown, like plastic clown suit.
Oh no, I think that's a Primus album.
Oh yeah, that would be it. Never mind. I don't know why I thought Mr. Bungle. I don't know. Maybe clowns just fucking resonate. Mr. Bungle.
I mean, Mr. Bungle is based off of a clown.
There we go. See.
And their first album does have a clown on the picture.
So I wasn't too far off.
Their second album does not, though, and the album that I'm most familiar with by them is California. And it's an excellent album, and I would have recommended that one, but I thought I'd try something fun and just
try something new.
Throw out an album that I've never listened to in full, and just be like, well, let's go with it.
All right. Well, sadly, I will not be doing the same. This is an album I have listened to. I don't know if you've heard of the wonderful and luscious Dan Avedon of currently of Ninja Sex Party and Game Grumps, but previously, in one of his first bands, Skyhill, he released one album with his partner, and it is called Run with the Hunted, and that is what I will be recommending. It is Skyhill's Run with the Hunted. It is the the first time I heard it long ago, I was, you know what? I'm going to leave that up to you. I will admit, it's an older one. I think it's from 2003. It is.
That is quite old.
It is
Danny's
not.
been around for a while. So.
Yeah, no, he's like fucking 50. No.
He's like 95
you can
years
tell
old.
it is definitely a first album. But I think you'll enjoy it. I know I enjoyed it. I bought the CD when they officially came back like last year and were like, hey, we're releasing a limited run of our CD. And I'm like, gotta get it. So I got it. And yeah, so that'll be the 2 albums for next week when we decide to get around to that. Sky Hill's Run with the Hunted and
Mr. Bungle's Disco Volante.
Disco Volante. So yeah, if you want to listen to those throughout the next coming week so that when you hear this next podcast and we talk about them, you'll know what the fuck we're talking about, because that makes sense to me.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, brother. And thank you so much for listening.
Please don't sue me, Hulk Hogan.
We've already got Crywolf on our asses today. We don't need fucking 2 sexy men on us.
Yeah, we really do. Maybe we do.
Maybe we... You know what? Fuck you, Hulk Hogan. Fuck you. Fuck me, Hulk Hogan. And we'll see you guys next time.
Y'all have a good week.
This has been the Noise Report. I'm gonna fuck my mom.
That caught me so off guard.